All right, time for convening having arrived. The Senate will come to order. Would ask unauthorized visitors to exit the chamber at this time. The Senate will come to order. Chair recognizes the distinguished Rules Committee Chairman, the Senator from the 53rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a wonderful day here at our state capitol. The journal's been read and found to be correct.
Thank you, Senator, for your good works on the journal. Is there objection dispensing with the reading of the journal? The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none. Journal is confirmed. All senators having bills, Secretary will read a report.
Mr. President, the Senate Rules Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Resolution 833 do not pass, respectfully submitted by Senator Mullis of the 53rd.
That completes the report. All senators having bills and resolutions to introduce, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions.
Senate Bill 301 by Senators Tate of the 38th and others, a bill to be entitled an Act to amend Chapter 10 of Title 25
Public
of the OC.
Safety.
Senate Bill 302 by Senators Martin of the 9th and others.
Insurance and Labor.
Senate Resolution 842 by Senators Ligon Jr. of the 3rd and others, a resolution
Rules
creating.
Committee.
Senate Resolution 847 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd, a resolution honoring the life of Mr. L. Wesley Smith and dedicating.
Transportation.
Mr. President, that completes the order.
Reports of standing. The Secretary will read reports of standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate Finance Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Resolution 604 do pass, respectfully submitted by Senator Hill of the 32nd. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Regulated Industries and Utilities has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 264 do pass by substitute. Senate Resolution 135 do pass by substitute, respectfully submitted by Senator Jeffries of the 17th. Mr. President, the Senate Public Safety Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 270 do pass by substitute, respectfully submitted by Senator Harper of the 7th. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Health and Human Services has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 273 do pass, respectfully submitted by Senator Unterman of the 45th. Mr. President, that completes the reports.
Secretary will read second readers.
Senate Bill 193 by Senator Bethel of the 54th and others, crimes and offenses, family violence, battery, change penalty provision. Senate Bill 199 by Senator Jeffrey of the 17th and others, elections, provide for a definition, prohibit certain activities within close proximity to polling places. Senate Bill 243 by Senator Hill of the 4th and others, Georgia Judicial Retirement System, preservation of rights by certain persons, change certain provisions. House Bill 51 by Representative Benton of the 31st and others, taxes, amount payable at redemption of property, change provisions. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Okay, it's now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Chair recognizes Senator on the 40th.
Mr. President, I ask the gentleman for the 29th be excused. He's out of the Capitol due to illness.
29th, without objection, Senator will be excused. Chair recognizes the Senator from the 55th.
Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you. I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 26th.
26th, without objection, Senator will be excused. Any other motions to excuse? Chair recognizes Senator from the 33rd.
Good morning, sir. I'd like to excuse the senator from the 36th.
36?
Yes, sir.
Without objection, Senator from the 36th will be excused. Any other motions? Senators, please signify your presence by voting the yay switch. The Secretary will unlock the machine. While senators are voting and we are getting ready to prepare for our morning devotion, I would like, obviously, to report that our state trooper, many of you are aware, Jacob Fields, who was sadly enough shot twice yesterday. The good news is that he is doing very well. He's alert and awake, and we expect a full recovery. And it is a reminder that all of the wonderful men and women that put on the gray and blue each and every day that are out there protecting us, we appreciate their service, their commitment, and certainly the Jacob Fields and his family. We will continue to remember him in our thoughts and our prayers. It's now time for our morning devotion. Time for our morning devotion would ask that all senators please take your seats, cease all audible conversation at this time as we prepare for the morning devotion. Doorkeepers, please secure the chamber at this time. It is now my honor to recognize the distinguished senator from the 2nd District for the purpose of leading us in our pledge and introducing our chaplain of the day. Senator.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to our American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now our Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and the principles of which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation. Ladies and gents of this noble body, we do have a treat for you today. But before I present our pastor of the day, we have a saying in the South that every day is Savannah Day. Now, we're celebrating Savannah Day in this body, but in the South, every day is Savannah Day. But before I present our pastor of the day, I would like to recognize on the fourth floor in the balcony the Chatham County Youth Council, the Savannah Youth Council, and the Tybee Island Youth Council that's here with us today. Our pastor of the day is the Reverend James East Taylor. But over I'd like to present his lovely wife, Miss Taylor, that's with us today. Presiding Elder Taylor has been in Christian service for over 40 years. He is a retired teacher for over 30 years. He is an Air Force veteran. He is a master gardener. But more importantly, Elder Taylor is a Christian soldier. He's a gentleman that just does not talk the talk, but he walks the walk. He takes his Christian obligation to his heart. He is a minister of the people. He just don't minister within his church walls. He takes it out in the community. He takes it to the youth. He takes it to the elderly. He takes it to his people. I'm not going to talk a lot about this great man, but I want to present to you a man that not only walks the walk, but when it comes to Christian service, he not only talks the talk, but when it comes to Christian service, he walks the walk. Our pastor of the day, Reverend J.E. Taylor.
Good morning, all. Thank you, Senator Jackson, for those kind words of presentation to Lieutenant Governor Cagle and to all the distinguished members of the Senate of the state of Georgia, to the various youth councils. We're happy to see you, to all the clergy persons present, and to our brothers and sisters who make up this body today. I'm honored to be present to participate in this brief time of devotion. First, let me thank you, the members of the Senate, for your visionary and effective leadership in helping Georgia to become the great state that it is. Matthew recorded a series of lessons taught by Jesus, the master teacher, in what we know as the Sermon on the Mount. In the opening scene of Matthew's Gospel in chapter 5, we find Jesus observing the crowds and going up a hill where he sat down. His disciples gathered around him and he began to teach the meaning of true happiness. He compared them to salt. He compared them to light. He taught them about the role of the law, about charity, and about prayer, among other things, including what it will be like on Judgment Day. And then the lessons are summarized in the parable of the two house builders, Matthew 20, verses 24 and 27. So then, Jesus said, anyone who hears the sayings, the words of mine, and obeys them is like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rains came, the rivers flooded, and the wind blew hard against that house, but it did not fall. The reason it did not fall, it was built on a solid foundation. Jesus continued, but anyone who hears the words of mine and does not obey them is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain poured down. The rivers flooded over. The wind blew hard against that house and it fell. And it was a terrible fall. It fell because it was not built on a solid foundation. And so the concluding thought emphasized the authority of Jesus. Verse 28, when Jesus finished saying these things, the crowd was amazed at the way he taught. He wasn't like the teachers of the law. Instead, he taught with authority. Let us stand for the prayer. Eternal God, our Father, it is with grateful hearts that we bow before your holy presence. We thank you for the blessings of a new day in the first month of a new year, and for yet another historic session of this august body, the Georgia State Senate. Heavenly Father, please bless each person who make up this Senate. Bless their families. Bless their constituencies. May the work of this body be established on a solid foundation on behalf of the people of Georgia and of the nation, so that their good work will stand. Even in the face of the winds and waves of adversity, let their work stand. For all of these blessings and the forgiveness of our sins, we pray Amen.
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated.
Very good, Reverend. Thank you so much. If I could have the Senate's attention, first of all, in the gallery, we've got some great special guests from Savannah. We'd like to, as they are exiting, say thank you for joining us. I think they got up at 4 o'clock this morning to come, and we're very, very appreciative for each of you for being with us today, making the sacrifice. We have some special guests we would like to recognize at this time. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 816 by Senators Beach of the 21st, Hill of the 6th, James of the 35th, Tate of the 38th, Hale of the 32nd, and others, a resolution commending Fulton County Charter School System on being named the 2015 Charter System of the Year and for other purposes. Whereas Fulton County School System had 8 schools among the top 25 highest scoring high schools in Georgia on the SAT for 2015. And whereas the Fulton County School System's graduation rate increased to 85.3% for 2015, which was the highest graduation rate in the metro Atlanta area. And whereas Fulton County Charter School System has found great success with a seed fund recognizing and funding creative concepts which serves needs identified by school governance teams. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Fulton County Charter School System for being awarded the title of 2015 Charter System of the Year and for its dedicated service to the community and state. Senate Resolution 817 by Senator Jones of the 25th, a resolution commending Putnam County Charter School System on receiving the Charter System Innovation Award and for other purposes. Whereas Putnam County Charter School System scored in the top 15 school systems in Georgia on the Career and College Readiness Report Index. And whereas Putnam County Charter School System is one of 33 charter systems in the state, a concept created by Lieutenant Governor Cagle in 2007 with the passage of the Charter System Act to push the boundaries of innovation and strive for excellence. And whereas Putnam County Charter School System follows its mission statement, quote, to assist all students in acquiring knowledge, fostering aspirations, and developing life skills that will empower them to become self-directing, productive, and contributing members of a global society, end quote. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Putnam County Charter School System on receiving the Charter System Innovation Award and for its dedicated service to the community and state. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair is none, and the resolution is adopted. It is a great honor that we have today to have 2 of our charter school systems that are really plowing new ground for innovation as it pertains to public education. I am particularly proud of, obviously, our Charter System Innovation Award recipient, Putnam County, and then our College and Career Academy of the Year, which is Fulton County. Both of these institutions, when you look at the metrics by which they are achieving, it is quite astonishing. They are truly, truly pioneers in innovation and rising to a very, very high level as they are reaching the needs of individual students throughout their communities. And we are honored to have both of them here today. First, I would call upon the senator from the 25th to recognize in his community Putnam County. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate this, and I'm honored today to stand with Lieutenant Governor because this has been a passion of his. It is a real honor for the charter systems that he's put forth and he's pushed over the last several years. And I'm so glad, I'm really blessed to have a number of good public and charter systems within my district, but the group that is here today, Putnam County School System, takes a back seat to no one, and it's because of their great leadership with their Board of Education, some of their teachers who have come out of retirement to lead the way in the charter systems, and also their superintendent, Mr. Eric Arena, which I would like to give him a time to address the body here and thank those who need to be thanked for this great, great accomplishment.
I want to thank you for honoring us and for this recognition. But first of all, I'd like to thank our Board of Education for the support that they have given to all the children in our community. It is amazing when we put all of our resources and give opportunities to children, regardless of where they live, that they rise to the occasion. I want to thank my team that's here, that's on stage and in the audience for the hard work and dedication that they provide. because it is our belief that if we stand in the gap for our children, they'll be able to achieve greatness. And thank you for your support in everything that you do.
Thanks so much. Congratulations to Putnam County. Thank you very much. Now it's my honor to call upon the Senator from the 21st as we recognize Fulton County as the Charter School System of the Year.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you for all you do for schools and career academies. And we're here today to recognize Fulton County Charter School System, who was named 2015 System of the Year. And I'm joined here from the Senator from the 6th, the Senator from the 32nd, and the Senator from the 56th, and some school board members and the superintendent. And I just want to tell you, I'm so proud of this group for what they've done in their charter school system. As Chairman of Economic Development, when you peel the onion back, for us to retain, expand, and create new jobs for the state of Georgia, it all starts with education. That's the key foundation and a key building block for us to continue to be successful. And these guys get it. They're all about student achievement, and I appreciate all you do. And I'd like to ask our superintendent, Ken Zeff, to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Senator Beach, and thank you for your leadership. And first of all, I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for creating the conditions for success. I don't think that we talk enough about what's great in public education in Georgia, and I think the charter system is doing a lot of good things for kids. And I want to thank our Board of Education, our elected board at Fulton County Schools, for their vision and their leadership, which has put us in this place. Education is on the rise, and Fulton County is on the rise in the state of Georgia. We've added 15 points to our graduation rate over the last 4 years. The charter system is making a difference. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to do what's right for kids.
Thank you all. That's right. Let's do a picture that y'all all go down. And let Fulton go first up front, and then we'll get Putnam's picture. Fulton, don't step forward, and this way we'll get you guys. All right, let's do it, guys. We'll do hurry up later. That's what I said. Hurry up later. Secretary will read a resolution. We have another special guest. I'd like to recognize
Senate Resolution 813 by Senator Watson of the 1st, a resolution recognizing the STEM Academy at Bartlett and commending them on their Future of Education Technology Conference STEM Excellence Award and for other purposes. Whereas the STEM Academy at Bartlett was among 3 middle schools in the country that were in the running for a Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Excellence Award. And whereas the Future of Education Technology Conference annually awards the Excellence Award to recognize excellence in the field of STEM education at the primary, middle, and high school levels. And whereas STEM education is fundamental in the success of our future workforce and has become a vital aspect of this state's future economic competitiveness and growth. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize the STEM Academy at Bartlett and commend them on their Future of Education Technology Conference STEM Excellence Award. Mr. President, that completes the order.
It is so wonderful when Georgia can brag about having the #1 STEM middle school academy in the state, in the country, and certainly we have that. Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted. It is an honor to recognize these special Georgians, and to do so, it's my honor to call upon the distinguished senator from the 1st.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is indeed my honor here to recognize the STEM Academy at Bartlett Middle School. This school was the first middle school in the state of Georgia to be certified, but not only did they do that, but they also were in the running for the national award. So they got into the top 10, top 3, and they were selected as the #1 middle school STEM academy in the United States. It is such an honor to be here, to have them here today. Just as an aside, you know, the charter school that was up here earlier, we have done fabulous in Savannah with charter schools. But now with the system in place with the STEM Academy, our local charter school has actually taken second place when it comes to applicants for this particular academy. So our charter school is doing fabulous, but our STEM Academy is even doing better. So without further ado, I'd like to ask the principal of this particular STEM Academy, who's been spearheading this from the very beginning, has gotten it certified, and now is nationally recognized. This is Mr. Peter Ulrich, and here he is. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to say thank you to the President of the Senate, and also thank you to Senator Watson for this recognition and this time. I have with me really what it's all about. I have 2 of our students, 6th grader Lewis Denson and 7th grader Cammie Lowry. One of the things that we're most proud of, our school motto is, I will either find a way or make one. And we have built a culture at our school of solving problems, whether it's looking at urban infrastructure or access to clean water or improving engineering better medicines. So we're excited about the multiple opportunities that being in Savannah provides us, and we are thankful for this honor and this recognition.
Awesome. Well done, well said. Thank you. Let's pose for a picture, all right? Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 728 by Senators Gooch of the 51st, Miller of the 49th, Williams of the 27th, Cowsert of the 46th, Beach of the 21st, and others, a resolution commending the University of North Georgia softball team and for other purposes. Whereas the University of North Georgia softball team made its 4th appearance in 7 years at the College World Series in May 2015, and after losing its first game at the tournament, the team worked its way through the losers bracket, winning 5 elimination games to claim the 2015 NCAA Division II National Championship for softball. And whereas the softball team set a program best for wins in a season, finishing the year at 54-8, and in addition to being the best team in the country, the University of North Georgia also has the National Player, Pitcher, and Coach of the Year. And whereas 6 members of this team are academic All-Americans, and the softball team has a team cumulative grade point average of 3.13. And whereas it is abundantly fitting and proper that the outstanding accomplishments of the University of North Georgia softball team be appropriately recognized. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend the University of North Georgia softball team for its outstanding academic achievements and exceedingly impressive athletic accomplishments. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. It is really a great honor today when we are able to celebrate so many successes, and in front of us the excellence that is here. North Georgia College is a wonderful institution, a wonderful university for our state, and it is obviously very, very exciting when they bring a national championship back to the state. And we are here to honor them today, not only for their excellence in the classroom, but certainly for this wonderful softball team as well. To recognize and speak to the resolution, I call upon the distinguished senator from the 51st.
Thank you. Good morning. It's a great day in Georgia. It's a great day in the state capitol to honor such a great team from my hometown, Dahlonega, Georgia. As you all know, North Georgia College, now the University of North Georgia, is the second oldest public institution in our state, and it's the first co-ed university as well. And we're honored to have our team here today. Our Nighthawks, they're up in the gallery. If you all would stand up, all of the North Georgia, University of North Georgia folks. And behind me, I have the coach, the athletic director, and the president of the college, and a couple of our teammates here. And we're honored to give them this resolution and to recognize them for what a great accomplishment they were to bring home last year from Oklahoma. When they came in from the long plane ride from Oklahoma last year, they were delayed getting home. They drove into Dahlonega in their buses, and I was awake, and I watched the buses come into town, and I was proud that they're not only from Georgia, but from my hometown. And it's an honor to have them here. You have a picture here to my right showing all the team, and you'll have the coach come up in a minute, and he'll show you the trophy. And I want to present this resolution to Dr. Benita Jacobs, and y'all give her a warm welcome to the Senate.
Thank you so much. We are so excited about this team, and we've had a bit of a powerhouse softball for some time, having gone to the national playoffs 4 years out of the last 7. And to be the World Series is very exciting for us. Let me introduce our athletic director, Lindsay Reeves, our head coach, Mike Davenport, 2 of our players, Kim McMillan from Powder Springs and Megan May from Moultrie. So give them all a round of applause, if you will. I want you to know something really important. Every one of our softball players went to high school in Georgia. We are the only Division I or Division II softball team that can make that claim, where all of the students went to school in their state. So we're very, very excited about these Georgia girls. Coach Davenport and his staff were named the National Coaches of the Year, Division II, and our pitcher was named the National Player of the Year, Courtney Poole, and interestingly named the national player before we won the playoffs. And the really good news is she has another year, and we are currently ranked #1 in the coaches' preseason poll. So we're hoping for a repeat. As we finish, the team will be outside if you would like to meet any of our ladies or have pictures made with them. And I would be remiss, if you have one of our players in your district, will you please stand and let us thank you? Any of you? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Let's pose for a picture. Let's hear from the coach as well.
Thank you. No, we're very excited to be here and to have these young ladies recognized. And I think last year, heading back from Oklahoma City, winning the national championship, the first national championship at the University of Georgia, was quite an honor. But when you step back and look at it and then know that every young lady on this team hails from the state of Georgia and is a Georgia peach, I thought that meant a lot to us. And but again, we appreciate you guys having us here today. Thank you.
All right. Good. Well done. All right, let's pose for a picture. That'd be great. Lindsay, hold on. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 831 by Senators Jackson of the 2nd, Jones of the 10th, and Watson of the 1st, a resolution recognizing and honoring Mr. Ernie Lee, 2016 Georgia Teacher of the Year, and for other purposes. Whereas Mr. Ernie Lee, an international baccalaureate and advanced placement teacher at Windsor Forest High School, was a corporate lawyer for over 20 years before becoming a public school teacher. And whereas holding a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology from Mercer University and a Juris Doctorate degree from the Cumberland School of Law at Samford University, Mr. Lee in 2010 started working as a substitute teacher in his effort to do something that would leave a lasting and positive impact on the community and the lives of others. And whereas, as the 2016 Georgia Teacher of the Year, Mr. Lee speaks to groups and leads workshops on issues related to building meaningful and positive relationships with students. And whereas it is abundantly fitting and proper that the outstanding accomplishments of this remarkable and distinguished Georgian be appropriately recognized. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Mr. Ernie Lee for his dedicated service to his community and state. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. It is my honor now to call upon the distinguished senator from the 2nd to recognize our very special guest.
Members of this esteemed body, we do have a treat for you today. We not only have Windsor Forest Teacher of the Year, nor do we not only have Chatham County Teacher of the Year, but we have the State of Georgia Teacher of the Year. But before I introduce him, I would like to present the people that's standing with him. Is Lester Anthony. He is the Chatham County Business Leader of the Year, and David Campbell, who is the Outstanding Georgia Citizen from Chatham County of the Year, along with the President of the Hispanic Chamber that's joining us today, and Mr. Scott West. So we have indeed honors, and with Pastor George P. Lee. So we do have a litany of outstanding Georgia citizens, all from Chatham Day, all from the state of Chatham. So it's great to be with us. But let me tell you about our Teacher of the Year, Mr. Ernie Lee. He is by profession a lawyer, but his heart is with children. He does not accept the gifted students. He accepts every student and make them gifted. He molds leaders, he molds minds, but more importantly, he gives them a purpose as young leaders of our tomorrow. So without further ado, I want to introduce the Georgia Teacher of the Year, the guy that inspired, that trained minds and making the new leaders of our great state, Mr. Ernie Lee.
Thank you. Everybody likes to be recognized, and that's one reason I stand at my door before each class and I greet each of my students by name. I welcome them in. If they look sleepy, I ask them, "You look sleepy, what's going on?" I want to know about their lives, and it may be that they stayed up late taking care of a sick parent, or they may have been writing an English paper. But when I get to know my students, they know that I love them and that then they can trust me and then I can teach. And I think that's how I became the Georgia Teacher of the Year. We appreciate everything you're doing for Georgia education, and thank you for having me.
Are there any unanimous consents? Any senator wishing to rise on a point of personal privilege? Senator from the 34th is recognized at this time on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I rise to say happy Friday Eve. I say that because we're off tomorrow, and many of you are going to be going back to your districts to spend time with your families. And before you start packing or getting your spouses to pack your bags to come back up here to do the people's business, make sure, men, you put a red tie in there. Because next week, Friday, Thursday, Friday Eve, is going to be Go Red for Women. you all hear me every year talk about I'm a heart attack survivor, and I want you all to help me raise the awareness of how important this disease is, and to make sure that you help raise the awareness by bringing your red tie and wearing it next week, Thursday, to honor those of us and to bring the awareness to the guys, because heart disease is the #1 killer, period. I said period. So while you're traveling safely on Georgia's highways and byways, don't forget to bring your red ties. Women, don't forget your red dresses for Go Red for Women, National Day next week, Friday. Thank you, Mr. President. I'll yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. Now I'd like to recognize the senator from the 2nd to present the Doctor of the Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, our Doctor of the Day is Dr. Daniel Most, a native of Newport News, Virginia, and a board-certified plastic surgeon from Savannah. He is a board-certified plastic surgeon from Savannah, and he told me he can't do much for a lot of you in here. He received his medical degree from Stanford University School of Medicine and completed his residency training in general surgery and plastic surgery at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. He has also completed a fellowship at Harvard University. As a published researcher, Dr. Most has over 30 publications in scientific journals and surgical textbooks. He's also presented his research nationally and internationally, and has given multiple lectures and community presentations on plastic surgery. Dr. Most is a gifted surgeon. He not only saves lives, but he molds a future for young people or people with disformities. He changes lives by making them look like they belong to be with us. I would like to introduce Dr. Most.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Thank you to all of you. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you to Medical Association of Georgia. I understand all of you have separate careers in addition to what you do here, and I just want to thank you, and it's truly an honor to be here.
Thank you very much. Let's get a picture. Okay. Chair recognizes Senator from the 45th on a point of personal privilege. Please give the Senator your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I rise for my very first point of personal privilege. Haven't had one this year. I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to be able to talk with you this bright Thursday morning. First of all, I wanted to let you know I have before me the bill that we talked about the other day about the Pregnancy Resource Center. I feel like I've been giving birth to a baby because I've been working on this for about 6 months now, and I have the official bill if you'd like to sign it. I would love for you to be able to sign on to the bill. The reason I rise today for a point of personal privilege is to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's my home county, which is Gwinnett County. Unfortunately, approximately about 18 months ago, the decision was made to close the juvenile detention center that's located on High Hope Road in Lawrenceville. And this is a detention facility that most of the kids that get in trouble when they're on the street, they actually are taken off the street or taken out of the home or taken out of school, and they're transported to a facility. And the reason it's so significant is because Gwinnett County, as you know, has grown very rapidly. We are a county of almost 1 million people. We're right up there with DeKalb County, Cobb County, and Fulton County, 1 million people. We're very proud of that. We're also one of the most diverse counties and the most diverse county in the state of Georgia. Oftentimes, our county is compared to San Francisco, that's a very diverse Northern California city. Approximately 175,000 students are in the Gwinnett County school system. And as you know, 175,000 kids is a lot of kids. That's a lot bigger than some of the major counties. I know I have subdivisions in my county, in my district, that have almost 10,000 people in one particular subdivision. 10.25% of all public school students in the state of Georgia reside in Gwinnett County. The percentage is even higher at 11% for middle and high school students. And most of the time when you're talking about DJJ and juvenile delinquency, you're talking about middle school students and high school students. The 2014 figures for Gwinnett County was that there is over 244,000 residents of Gwinnett, 244,000 residents of Gwinnett County who are less than 17 years old. The reason this is so significant is because of that diversity. We have schools in Gwinnett County, 160 different, approximately 160 different languages, dialects are spoken in the Gwinnett County school system. Now that's a remarkable statistics. The other thing that is very significant is that Gwinnett County is one of the largest landmass counties in the state of Georgia. And we have progressed, and we have 15 different municipalities. Along with those municipalities having police forces, the Gwinnett County Board of Education has a public safety department. That public safety department for the Board of Education is probably larger than most of the city and county public safety departments in your own particular county. So we're talking about a lot of people and a lot of kids. And the most significant thing is we want to take care of our kids. And we feel like since that facility has been closed, that our kids are at a major disadvantage, and so are our constituencies. Unfortunately, since it closed, what the Department of Juvenile Justice made the decision was that the kids would be transported out of our county. So on the eastern side of our county, like the residents of Norcross and Duluth, the kids that get in trouble are literally taken to Gainesville, Georgia. Well, a lot of you know what Interstate 85 is like. It's not fun to travel on. And it can take up to 2 hours to be able to go from Norcross to Duluth. And unfortunately, when you take a police officer off the road, you're talking about maybe 3/4 of his shift by the time he picks up a child, puts them in the car, writes up a report, travels to Gainesville, Georgia, goes through the Sally Port, gets him into the detention facility, and then drives back to his home city. We're talking about almost a whole police shift. That's a disadvantage when you're talking about small cities like Norcross or Duluth. It may not be small to you, but relatively small, 30,000 people, whatever. It's significant to take a police officer off the road to have to go transport. On the western side of the county, you have Lilburn, you have Lawrenceville. Those kids go to Conyers, Georgia. If you've ever been through Loganville and seen the traffic in Loganville, Georgia on Georgia Highway 20, you know that's not an easy feat. So what is happening is that these kids are not getting equal representation and due process because the attorneys do not want to go up there and waste their time of a half a day of service to go up there and have to talk and interview a child. The other thing is these families who can not even afford to go to Lawrenceville, which the old facility was in, they can't afford to go to Gainesville. They don't have transportation. They can't afford to go to Conyers. So they're not seeing their children when their kids are locked up in a detention facility. It's a great imposition. We want to take care of our kids. What I look forward to working with you, senators, is that we hope, and we have been working, we have a great delegation. We have 7 senators in our delegation that we can place in the budget for Gwinnett County to open up a new facility. I appreciate the governor's stance. I've worked hand in hand with him on juvenile justice reform, criminal justice reform, child welfare reform, and this is an integral part of these kids that we're taking care of. So I applaud him. I look forward to working with the governor's office, OPB, and working with DJJ. They have been a delight to work with in the last 6 months in working on a new project. The county is willing to put skin in the game and help the state to be able to build a new facility and to be able to take care of these kids who are being treated unfairly in Gwinnett County. With that, Mr. President, I yield the well. I look forward to working with the senators. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 21st.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise before you today. We have several economic development professionals with us today. We have the president of GEDA, Kevin Shea, with us. And would y'all all rise? We have folks from the Chambers of Commerce. And I just want to tell you that these are the people that help us remain #1 in the state, in the country to do business. Georgia to be the #1 state to do business. It's truly a team effort, and we want to thank you for all y'all do working together. Thank you for coming down. We appreciate all your hard work on retaining, expanding, and bringing new jobs to Georgia. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 38th on a point of personal privilege.
Good morning, colleagues. I rise on a point of personal privilege. In sitting here and listening to my colleagues this morning, I heard the senator from the 34th and the senator from the 45th mention a point about our interstates and safety, which is what I am here to talk about. We want our highways to be safe for our constituents that ride on them every day. I don't feel that the constituents of the 38th District are able to travel on our highways and be safe. They're in harm's way every time they get out there. We passed House Bill last year, 170, to work on transportation for this state. We said we need $1 billion every year to fix our roads, to find new projects, to have new transportation systems to make our roads and our citizens have safe ways to get from point A to point B. Second day of the session, our governor unveiled in a press conference his transportation initiatives. I found it interesting that when you look at where they're going to put the money, it goes from I-75 north, around on the north end of 285, nothing coming southward into what would give safety to my constituents. I voiced to the Braves when they were talking about building the new Comcast Stadium in Cobb that there is an issue between I-75 coming southward and getting on to 285 to come over to I-20. If you go out there right now, you will see nothing but tractor trailers. My constituents can't get from I-75 over to I-20. You can't get, and you're not my constituent, you're my colleague, you can't get from I-75 over to I-20. It's unsafe for all Georgians to be on that stretch of road. I have voiced that they need to do something, but that's not in the plan. They came in several years ago and talked about fixing the interchange from Hollowell, which used to be Bankhead Highway, taking out houses. They talked to community about buying houses so they could fix from I-20, from Hollowell on 285 to I-20, which is a traffic jam every day. What happened to that project? It fell by the wayside. It's not even looked at this point. That's a safety issue. That's an issue of where our constituents will mistrust us. We continue to do things that are not helping the citizens of Georgia, and specifically the citizens of the 38th District. When I came into office back in 1999, there was a stretch of road on a state highway that was unsafe between Lamar Road on Martin Luther King out to Hamilton Homes. Personally, my father was hit and his car was totaled on that stretch of road in about 2001, before he passed. We had the money came from the federal government in 1992 to fix that stretch of road. It is 2015. That road has not been fixed. We continue to have accidents. We have flooding on that stretch of road. My constituents need to know that we care about them and they are safe. DOT came out in about 2005, when it should have already been let, had a community meeting with my constituents and said, we're going to fix this. What happened to that project? It's not happened. My constituents are still in harm's way. I went to a committee meeting, a community meeting last week. One of my constituents said, I come in from 285 going eastbound on I-20, and when we get right here behind the Capitol, getting onto I-75, 85 going north, it's a parking lot every day, almost all day long. The only time it's not a parking lot is from probably 11 o'clock at night almost into 6 in the morning. What are we doing to address the needs of all Georgians? What are we doing to make them safe? If you travel from here on I-20, going out west on I-20, there is a pothole right at Lowry Boulevard that has been there for months. Huge asphalt is missing. It is shredding tires. It is causing a safety problem for all of us. When are we going to wake up and handle the issues that are important to our citizens? We have a new Mercedes-Benz stadium. It's my time. Going to wrap up real quickly. We have a new Mercedes-Benz stadium. They are fixing Northside Drive to get the people into the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I want to ask my colleagues to help us be safe in the state of Georgia and help us get DOT to do what needs to happen with these projects. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 36th. Point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. I rise today to lift up to you the resolution that we passed, 729, recognizing the first Latina fraternity in the nation that now has 6 chapters here on campuses in Georgia. We heard from the lady from Gwinnett about the incredible diversity in the public school system there. We have equally diversity at the post-secondary level, and I'm very pleased to welcome today the Lambda Theta Phi Latin fraternity. They are in the balcony, and I'll ask them to rise and be recognized. Join me in applauding them. Today, January 28th, is Lambda Day at the Capitol, and the Lambda Theta Phi has done an exemplary job in promoting civic engagement and education across college campuses, mobilizing students to do volunteer work, education work, promoting the importance of higher education to younger students, and hosting voter registration, mentoring programs and tutoring programs in the middle school. Just a few examples. At the University of Georgia, the Brothers of Lambda Theta Phi work with a mobile home community providing after-school activities for children and giving them that example that college can be in their future. Higher education is a goal to aspire to. At the Georgia State University, Brothers of the Lambda are heavily involved with Atlanta area nonprofits, again, promoting to students across our metro region the importance of studying, applying yourself to the books, and having goals to seek higher education degrees. At Armstrong State, the Lambdas have organized and funded the school's first ever Latino graduation that will occur in May. At the University of West Georgia, they're hosting voter registration drives, engaging their local communities in upcoming elections in a nonpartisan fashion. And at Kennesaw State University, they have a program that they've developed to mentor and tutor students at a middle school in that area. So I want to congratulate these young men, congratulate them for their involvement and their interest in the broader community, redefining Greek life here in our state, literally, and across the nation. We congratulate you today and urge you to continue your great work building your fraternity and building the important, vital service role that you play in communities across our great state. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Senator. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 792 by Senators Vaness of the 43rd, Rhett of the 33rd, Jones of the 25th, Jeffries of the 17th, Wilkinson of the 50th, and others. A resolution recognizing and commending Georgia State Trooper First Class Nathan Bradley, Georgia State Patrol Corporal Richard Thacker, and Morgan County Sheriff Robert Markley, and for other purposes. Whereas Georgia State Trooper First Class Nathan Bradley of Jackson, Georgia, even though he was assigned to Newton County, volunteered to work the scene of a tragic accident on Broughton Road in Morgan County, where Donald Howard and his wife Crystal were both killed. And whereas when Trooper Bradley went to the Howard's home to tell the 4 children that their parents had been killed, he discovered that the children, ages 6 through 13, were all dressed in their Halloween costumes. And whereas it is normally standard procedure to place such children under the supervision of the Department of Child and Family Services, but Trooper Bradley asked his superior officer, Georgia State Patrol Captain Alan Marlowe, if he could entertain the children until their grandmother, who was 7 hours away, could come and inform the children in person. And whereas Trooper Bradley, inspired by Georgia State Patrol's core value of compassion, occupied the children all night long. And whereas Georgia State Patrol Corporal Richard Thacker and his wife Allison spent the night at the post, feeding and attending to the children and watching movies with them. And whereas Morgan County Sheriff Robert Markley left his county and drove to Walton County to the Monroe Post and gave the children 4 huge baskets of Halloween candy and honorary deputy badges. And whereas all of the children had a fantastic night, and one of them said to Trooper Bradley, quote, "You turned an F- night into an A+ night," end quote. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize and commend Georgia State Trooper First Class Nathan Bradley, Georgia State Patrol Corporal Richard Thacker, and Morgan County Sheriff Robert Markley for their devotion to duty and compassion for these young children in their time of need. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. It's always great when we can recognize our law enforcement officers that have done so much to protect and care for the lives of our great citizens of our state. And today is certainly the opportunity to do so. To speak to the resolution and recognize our special guest and our wonderful Georgians, I call upon the distinguished senator from the 43rd.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. President and Senate colleagues. I am proud to join my colleagues in the House and Senate in presenting this morning to Trooper Nathan Bradley for his outstanding service. And I would just like to commend, I'm sure you know many of the details through the news media and also the resolution today, but I'd just like to have Trooper Bradley speak for a moment and just commend him for his outstanding courage and quick decision-making skills and leadership. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Trooper Nathan Bradley here with the Georgia State Patrol, obviously. I'd like to thank you all for having me here. It's both an honor and a privilege to be able to speak in front of a group of such fine men and women serving us on the citizens aspect. You'll have to forgive me, I'm terrible at publicly speaking, but I would like to touch on a few points. You're all aware of the story, so I won't elaborate on that, but what I would like to say is that I'm not everything the media makes me out to be, okay? I'm not a perfect person. I'm definitely not a perfect trooper. I'm far from it, and I have my mistakes. But what happened that night, I was simply a tool that God used. God uses all of us as tools, and I was blessed that the media exposed this incident. But the truth of the matter is, things like this are happening all the time. That was not my first death notification, and unfortunately it won't be my last. But I'm very thankful to be that front man for all law enforcement. And I'd just like to put emphasis on the fact that our jobs are very difficult without the support of you all and the general public. And I'd like to thank you all for that continued support. And again, thank you for recognizing us. Behind me, I have Corporal Thacker's wife, Allison. She was there with me that night, as well as the Morgan County Sheriff, Rob Markley, who's standing behind me to my left. They were big contributing factors as far as helping me deal with the situation while I handled the logistics behind it. And it's important to me that they were recognized as well. And again, thank you all for your service. God bless you all, and you stay safe.
Great, good job. Appreciate it very much. Yes, sir. Thank you. Very good. Let's pose for a picture down on the step. Chair recognizes Senator from the fourth. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, many of you have already signed the resolution I have honoring Special Agent Chester McBride of the U.S. Air Force, who was one of the 6 soldiers killed in the bomb explosion in Afghanistan back in December. Chester McBride was a truly American hero, outstanding young African-American who exhibited all the qualities that we want all of our young people to exhibit. When he was home from active duty in October, he visited Statesboro High School and spoke to the young people there about values and doing what you say you'll do and doing the right thing. Just left a tremendous message everywhere he went. His death is a real loss for our state, and I wanted you all to have the opportunity to sign the resolution. I count 45 names on here, so I'm missing 11 of you who haven't signed it. If you haven't, I would appreciate it very much if you would come down and let me know, or I'll bring it to you and have you sign it for honoring Staff Sergeant Chester J. McBride of Statesboro, Georgia. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes Senator from the 54th. He will be our last point of personal privilege. Please give the Distinguished Insurance and Labor Committee Chairman your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, I rise on a point of personal privilege in the wake of the Appropriations Chair and our recognition of this great trooper, and I rise proud of the people that we live with and the people that we share this state with, and proud of America. I rise today because I want to remind you of something that's an appropriate day to remember. 30 years ago today, I was sick. I was home from school, and I watched the Space Shuttle Challenger explode. I remember it like it was this morning. 7 Americans engaged in that great human emotion, that great energy to reach out, to know more about the world in which we live and beyond, lost their lives. I'd like to draw your attention to one life in particular. and share with you why it was important to me. Most folks who know about that tragedy remember Krista McAuliffe, and she was a school teacher, and she is worthy to be remembered, but there were 6 other lives on board. Ronald McNair was born in Lake City, South Carolina. And when he died, I was 9 years old. And when he was 9 years old, he went to the library in Lake City, South Carolina. And the librarian would not let him pursue the books he wanted to study because he was black. He lived in a segregated community where the library was segregated. And to a 9-year-old boy, the idea that you couldn't get a book because of your skin color made an impression that has at least lasted 30 years. So Ronald McNair sat on the counter in that library and said, "I will wait." His mother was called. The police were called. Thank goodness a law enforcement officer with sense asked the librarian, "Couldn't you just let him check out the books he wants to read?" And they said yes. So Ronald went home with the books. He became a physicist, an accomplished saxophonist. In fact, it was his intention to record the first original piece of music played in outer space during that mission. But I just want you to remember, as you drive by McNair High School and McNair Junior Highs, most of them are named for Ronald McNair. And most of us have probably forgotten. Don't forget that when he lost his life reaching out for something special, when he was an 8 or 9-year-old boy, he was already reaching out for special things. And all of us have the ability to reach out for special things. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
That will conclude our points of personal privilege. Thank you, Senator. You have a consent calendar of privilege resolutions that is before you. Is there objection to adoption of the consent calendar of privilege resolutions? The chair is none, and the consent calendar of privilege resolutions are therefore adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw or commit? Chair recognizes the senator from the 32nd.
I move that SR 756 be withdrawn from the Committee on Appropriations and be committed to the Special Joint Committee on Revenue Structure.
Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Resolution 756 by Senator Hill of the 32nd and others, a resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution so as to provide for prioritized funding requirements regarding certain appropriations acts, to provide for procedures, conditions, and limitations, to provide for the authority of the General Assembly with respect to the foregoing, to provide for the submission of this amendment for ratification or rejection, and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 41st. What purpose you rise?
Inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Chairman, the status of a transfer or withdraw and recommit, is that a majority vote or a 2/3 vote if challenged?
You're asking, is it a majority vote to challenge or to?
If someone objects.
If someone objects, it's a majority vote of the quorum.
And Mr. President, isn't it a good point if people make those recommendations that they notify the body, whether the chairman of the committee and author of the bills have all been talked to, and also whether or not yourself has been communicated with to see that?
Right. Oh, absolutely. And let me just say that the senator from the 32nd, I mean, what has been the unwritten rule of the Senate has always been that when two committee chairs are in agreement along with the author, then typically there is no objection. Certainly every senator here has the right to object if they so wish, but the senator from the 32nd, is my understanding, has spoken with both committees and that there is no objection. Is there any objection? Without objection, the committee, or excuse me, the bill SR 756 will now be withdrawn from the Appropriations Committee and now assigned to the Special Joint Committee on Revenue Structure. All right, we're moving on to the general calendar. Secretary will read Senate Bill 263.
Senate Bill 263 by Senators Thompson of the 14th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 35 of the OCGA relating to the general provisions regarding law enforcement officers and agencies so as to provide that the governing authority of each municipality and county in this state and each board of education which employs sworn police officers who are POST certified may adopt policies under which such sworn officers. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 14th to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the Senate. I find it interesting that today we honored law enforcement officers, and we also spoke of our dear officer that had the incident on I-75 just yesterday. This bill seeks to do just that. It seeks to honor a different segment of our law enforcement. You see, when it comes to our state, and I should go through a few of them, the alcohol and firearms, our Georgia Drug and Narcotics Agencies, Conservation Rangers, GBI, Corrections, when they retire, we honor them by allowing them to keep their service revolver and their badge. Unfortunately, Tommy Culpepper, who served the Bartow County area as the chief of police, retired. And he was not permitted to be able to keep his service revolver because the weapons were obtained through a grant of the state. So the local city attorney interpreted that as we're not permitted to do that. This bill seeks to be permissive in nature and to align with the state. So if a local municipality chooses to be able to reward the law enforcement officer on a local level that has put their life on the line for us as the good citizens of Georgia to protect us, at retirement, they could, from a permissive standpoint, be allowed to keep their weapon and their badge. Mr. President, I'll yield the well unless there's any questions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Question, does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection granted? Report of committee which fail to pass the bill. Chair is none. Report of committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chair is none. The main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Question on the pass the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 50, the nays are 1. This bill, having received regular constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand in recess until 5 o'clock p.m. today and then adjourn pursuant to Senate Resolution 678 until 10 o'clock a.m. Monday, February 1st.
Monday, February 1st. Read the announcements.
Rules will be held upon adjournment in 450 Capitol. Insurance and labor has been canceled. Judiciary has been canceled. Judiciary non-civil has also been canceled. Transportation will be held at 3 p.m. in 125 Capitol. Banking and financial institutions has been canceled. National resources and the environment has also been canceled.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 50th for an announcement.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, I'd just like to remind everyone that the Georgia Pest Control Association is providing barbecue, Louis Grizzard's favorite barbecue from Sprayberry's in Newnan. It'll be available from 11:30 until 1 in room 123 in the state capitol. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 36th for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I want to extend a warm invitation to you to join with us today at the LOB 307 for the Working Families Caucus Legislative Luncheon, and we will be hearing from analysts on the recommendations that came out of the education reform study for legislation and funding potentially being addressed in this session. So if you would like to apprise yourself of some background in depth, we invite you to come and join us for hot lunch in LOB 307, Working Families Caucus. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 2nd for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gents, my colleagues, I extend a warm greeting, and I want to invite you all to the depot tonight. We're celebrating Savannah Day. We begin at 5 o'clock. We're inviting everyone that has a ticket.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 35th on an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Honorable Senators, this is the first annual Men's Day event. You know, every year we have Women in White Day, where people of different religions and community leaders come and pray for the Senate and the House. Well, today we have the first annual Men's Day, which are ministers, deacons who have come to the Capitol today. But at 2 o'clock, they will be in the South Wing and they will pray for our state of Georgia. And I hope that you can come and join us just for a few minutes for prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The majority leader has moved that we stand in recess until 5 o'clock and then adjourn till 10 o'clock on Monday, February the 1st, 2016. All of those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes clearly have it. We stand adjourned.